With every passing moment, a chance to buy something is at your fingertips. That new pair of pants you just saw on Instagram, the latest gaming PC that your favorite streamer uses, or the newest line of Teslas to make you feel like you're saving the planet, all
buying a Tesla Omega dance.
Bombard you with visions of what you could be. In the Imperial core, buying things has become the stuff of life. To feel good, you shop. If you're bored, you browse things to buy. If you want to be ethical, you don't stop buying. You just need to find the right brand to buy from. Seemingly, our whole lives are wrapped up in the vicious cycle of working all day and then spending all of our money to fill the void in our lives. Consumerism is a problem that runs rampant in imperialist countries like the United States. It's right up in our faces at every moment. It can be easy to see.
I think also consumerism is like the easiest hobby. Like if you spend all day working this dog shit 9-to-5 job and then you have an hour commute, so you don't show up home until 6 o'clock, and then you have to shower and get dinner, and so it's 7 o'clock. You don't really have energy to dedicate to a hobby that actually is fulfilling, which means that you will almost automatically want to do the easiest form of dopamine collection, which is consumerism. And when I say consumerism, I don't even necessarily mean just buying stuff. I mean any type of consumerism. I mean like being addicted to keeping up with the Kardashians as a form of consumerism, right? And also, let me just say, there is a very big difference between enjoying yourself and exclusively becoming a consumer. Right? Because it's fun. It's fine to have easy hobbies, but I think it's important to have difficult hobbies. Because you'll get more satisfaction from difficult hobbies. So like after a month of being a consumer and buying like the latest whatever the fuck garbage, you feel the same. You still need to keep getting this like hit of your addiction every once in a while, right? Versus, let's say you got into art, right? Let's say you decided to do like the PewDiePie thing, and every single day you're planning on drawing a little and learning how to draw a little bit. At the end of the month, you'll feel really good. At the end of the month, you'll be like, wow, I made so much progress. It's a lot more fulfilling. And I think it's because there's like a skill to train. Versus consumerism, there's no skill that you really train. Is it like buying models versus painting models? Yeah, that would be a great example. Like, for example, actually, sorry, I don't know why I said that. But Warhammer, right? I feel like the people who get into Warhammer or the people who get into D&D, yeah, they might engage in some consumerism. Like they might buy new figurines or new models when it comes out. But there's a lot of the hobby that is dedicated to creative effort. And I think it's important to have creative effort hobbies. Because you'll get a lot more fulfillment out of that. Like same thing with D&D. It's like, yeah, maybe D&D people engage in consumerism when it comes to dice. I don't know if you've ever met anyone who plays D&D in real life. They have too many dice sets. 1,000,000 dice sets. They see a dice set, they're like, oh, but it's only $10 and it's so cute. And they have more dice than they'll ever need, ever in their life. But a lot of the hobby is dedicated to a very creative outlet, right? Building characters, building personalities, rolling stats for those characters, RPing, making the figurines if you personally make them, or making like the tabletop environment. Like a lot of that is spent, creatively writing out lore, pulling images, making this universe, right? And then some of it is a little bit of consumerism. Oh, these are so cute. These would look so good. You say that, but when you need to cast a level 8 fireball, you're going to be glad you have all those dice.
see this conspicuous spending and claim that overconsumption is the source of many of our environmental problems. Consumers are, after all, the ones making the choices at the checkout counter. They're the ones voting with their dollars. But today we're going to dive into this mistaken worldview. Consumerism is not the problem, it's a trap. It's a symptom of a much larger and more insidious problem of capitalism that lurks in the shadows. Today, we look at the real problem with consumerism and how we really combat the out-of-control waste and accumulation of stuff. This video is made possible by my amazing viewers who support me on Patreon. Over the last 2 years, my revenue from ads and sponsorships have dropped substantially. So much so that if this trend continues, making videos like these will become less and less financially viable, which is why I need you. Our Changing Climate will always be free for everyone regardless of how much I make. But OCC is a one-person operation, and it would be nice to earn enough to pay for rent and my health insurance, both of which seem to grow yearly. So if you've been a long-time viewer or just stumbled across this channel, thank you so much for watching, and please consider supporting Our Changing Climate on Patreon with the link in the description or on screen right now. Just $1 a month from a small portion of my audience would be huge for the channel and, to be honest, me. Spend enough time on the internet and you're bound to buy something. How could you not when Amazon offers free shipping and an option to click just one button to speed you through the checkout process? Or when the new online marketplace Temu offers rock bottom prices for basically any good you could ever want. Consumerism in the US has risen precipitously with total...
I'm such a spite-driven person because at this point, I just don't use Temu out of spite. It's like, how dare you build a website made to fuck with my dopamine receptors? Fuck you. I refuse. I refuse. No, nobody games my dopamine receptors. Only I do that.
Retail sales more than doubling since 2013. Indeed, the percentage of households with 2 or more cars has increased dramatically from 22% in 1960 to 59% in 2020, while the average home size expanded by 149% from 1,595 square feet to 2,383 square feet in 2022. And when families run out of space to put all of their stuff, they've turned to storage units. In the United States, an
Okay, high key, unless you live in like a studio or like a 1-bedroom apartment.
Temu has this fish game that's basically a scam, and it got me to delete the app because I was playing the fish game instead of shopping Denims.
I went on Temu once because there was a product I wanted, and I think it showed that it was on Temu, and I was like, okay, is really Temu the only place I can buy this item? Okay, well let me take a look. And I found after 15 minutes of being on their dog shit app, I still hadn't purchased the item. I was doing all this other shit, all this other junk and garbage that they're like, you got to do this thing. You got to, well, what about these items? And I'm like, oh my God, I'm being gamified. I'm being gamified. No. And I uninstalled it immediately. But for real though, like, unless there are specific circumstances where it makes sense that you have a storage unit, having so much stuff that you need to go get a storage unit is crazy. Is crazy. Like you have a garage filled with stuff, and you also have a storage unit. It's like, dude, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? Genuinely. What is happening? Organized hoarding.
Estimated 14.6 million households rent additional storage to keep all of their additional stuff. This generates the self-storage industry $29 billion in revenue every year. And all of this growth hasn't been to accommodate larger families, because the average family size has actually decreased by 16% from 1980. And this expansion of consumption has had disastrous effects on the environment. Despite being home to just 5% of the world's population, the United States consumes 15.7% of the world's total fossil fuel energy. In the United States, between 30 to 40% of food gets wasted.
I just recently needed a SATA cable. I stored it in my basement 10 years ago. It just saved me a trip to the store.
through a combination of on-farm loss, transportation, store overstocking, and lack of at-home planning. The average American emits 14.9 metric tons of carbon dioxide equivalent every year, which is more than triple that of the global average of 4.7. Yet despite unprecedented consumption rates and a glut of almost every gadget and appliance imaginable flooding the market, people in the United States aren't that happy. According to the General Social Survey, only 25% of Americans are satisfied with their life, a percentage that slowly declined since the 1970s and plummeted during the pandemic. In part, this is due to the vast inequalities that cleave the United States. As some fill up their oversized homes and storage units with stuff, many struggle to survive. Over 42 million people rely on food stamps to put food on the table, while more than 650,000 people experience homelessness across the country. As the famous quote from economist William Gibson goes, "The future is already here. It's just not evenly distributed." Even for those who do enjoy excessive and conspicuous consumption of the newest Tesla or Apple's $3,500 Vision Pro, more consumption and more income don't necessarily lead to more happiness. A phenomenon that has been deemed the Easterlin paradox, a concept that claims that after basic needs are met, economic growth and higher incomes don't necessarily lead to greater happiness. With all this in mind, it's clear that the capitalist hub of the world is on a dangerous path. A path that is not only leaving us overworked, in debt, and unhappy, but is also driving us headlong into a ruinous collision point. Paraphrasing scholar Timothy Jackson, Diana Stewart and fellow researchers write in a paper that considering the biophysical limitations of the Earth, extreme resource and material consumption on a finite planet means it is not a matter of if the economy will contract, but when. In short, the imperial core is consuming far more than is sustainable for human well-being and the planet. But is consumerism really the problem? Are the consumption habits of the masses really the driving force between our environmental and social ails? These are the crucial questions, ones that hand us the keys to what Karl Marx calls the hidden abode of production. Behind every dollar spent on that butter melter you saw on TikTok or that automatic pot stirrer you saw on Instagram lies a corporation, a company eager to offload its product into your hands to generate profit. The core engine of capitalism is its constant demand for capital accumulation. Capitalists must incessantly expand their productive capacities through new technologies and decreasing labor costs.
What could you need a butter melter for? To melt butter, I guess. But what about like a stove or a microwave? Or leaving it on the counter? Nope, too archaic. Don't ask these questions if you don't want the answer. Gooning. Does anyone else get anxiety having too many tools? But it was 80% off on Temu. $20. Gremlo. Oh, thank you for the raid. Hi, Gremlo. Hi, everybody. I'm Denims. This is Mayor Cat. We're hanging out talking about overconsumption in capitalism. I hope you guys enjoy your time. And if you don't, Mayor Cat gets it. It being a treat. Because if you guys aren't going to be happy, at least Mayor Cat should be. Inshallah, he will be baked. Barkwolf, thank you for the 5 months. You won't be laughing when I serve you freshly popped popcorn with perfectly melted butter on top. Fuck, he's right. I actually do like popcorn FR though.
Us to create the most commodities for the lowest prices. If they fail to do so, they get eaten alive by other, more capable owners who've managed to create more products at cheaper prices. This process of constant accumulation and expansion creates overproduction. Production that generates piles of commodities that must be sold to the masses to continue the cycle of capital accumulation. Because exchanging products for even more money is essential to complete the last leg of the money invested into commodities and sold for even more money cycle, also known as MCM. In a sense, consumption is a release valve of production. It expands and contracts, but never creates the flow of goods. As scholar Alan Schneiberg notes, consumption cannot be the leading factor in the expansion of production. Increased consumption may permit expanded production, but it does not generally cause it. Unrestrained capitalist production, then, is the root cause of what we see as the ails of consumerism. According to the average person living in the capitalist stronghold of the United States, and indeed most economists, however, corporations are merely responding to consumer demand. This is a skewed view of reality. The true culprits of all the stuff in our houses, in our landfills, and in our atmosphere is overproduction. Companies like Best Buy, for example, supply a false freedom when you walk into their store. The range of brands and products on their shelves might make you
Does anyone else feel depressed when they walk into a Best Buy, or is that just me?
feel like you have freedom
They're
of
silly. I'm thinking for 14 months.
choice, but in reality, you are only served cameras, laptops, or phones that generate profit or allow corporations to stay competitive. Factors that are often determined much more by labor costs.
It's not just you. It's like so sterilized and empty. I feel like scared when I walk into one. It's like, it feels like it's filled with a bunch of stuff that doesn't actually, feels like a simulation, basically. You know the scene in The Truman Show where, like, what's the actor's name? Guys, someone who knows actors. What's his name again? Jim Carrey. Jim Carrey's character starts to suspect that he might be in like a fake world, and he runs into one of the stores, and then he opens the elevator and sees that there's no one in there and that it doesn't go anywhere. That's how I feel walking into a Best Buy. It's like, it feels like a place that isn't real. It's like, what's all this stuff that I've never seen before and I'm never going to buy? What do you mean there's like 500 different cases here? This is fake. This is fake. I go to this one burger place. The burgers are so good, and they're really not expensive either. Like, they're the best burgers I've ever had and the best fries I've ever had. And I like to go there sometimes. And it's like, again, it's like very cheap. It's like $12 for like a burger and fries that are very fresh. But I swear to God, it feels like a front. If you told me that that was like a money laundering business, I would believe you. I would totally believe you. The other thing, by the way, about Best Buy is that cheap for LA? Kind of, yeah. Kind of, yeah. Like, for usually $12 for a burger and fries in LA, it's like the saddest burger. Just like the most depressing burger you've ever seen in your life. Meerkat, where are you going? Meerkat, where are you going? He's gone. He's gone. Best Buy is not Best Buy. In-N-Out. In-N-Out's pretty decent. Pretty decent quality. Like, it's a consistent quality. What was I going to say? No, wait. When I need a new widget, I first put it on the shopping cart on Amazon or something, and I don't buy it. I don't actually order the thing until the second time I need it to justify me buying it. Okay, guys, can I admit something? Anytime I'm buying a new tool that I'm not sure if I'm going to need more than once, and I feel like it's a little expensive, I usually return it at least once or twice. And then once I have to buy it for the third time, I'm like, okay, clearly I need this thing. Clearly I need this thing. I bought a nail gun. I bought like a nice nail gun. Because I personally believe if you're going to buy something, you should buy a good version of that product so you never have to replace it. And so I bought like a nail gun from Home Depot. And I was like, you know, I like this nail gun. It's pretty nice. With air compressor. It's the brand that's red. Whichever one that is. The Hogwarts school, the red one, Milwaukee. Yeah. Okay. So I bought the Milwaukee nail gun, and I used it once. I was like, that was pretty good, but whatever. I don't need this. I only needed it for this one thing. It was kind of expensive. I'm going to return it. return it. I need it again. Go and buy it again. And I believe with products that are that big, that are usually that expensive, what they end up doing is sending it back to the warehouse. And then the warehouse decides if the product is still working, and then they repackage it essentially. And so I was like, okay, well, I don't, I don't need the nail gun. I don't need it anymore. Buy it again, return it again. Okay. Wait, I don't need one. I don't. Should I get one? Should I keep one? Needs it again. Okay, fine. I will buy it. Fine. An actual nail gun or like a power tool nail gun is a big deal. It's like a nail gun. Like with the battery and everything, the nail gun. Every tool family just sticks to whichever battery they have, the fairly similar in quality and whatever the brand loyalty it is the batteries. Yeah. Yeah. Are you roofing or framing or something? Well, first I bought it to frame this canvas, and then I bought it a second time to build this like trash drawer. Because you know how you normally have your trash can just sitting in the middle of your kitchen and it's kind of gross? I was like, this is disgusting. So I bought one of those like islands, like one of those cheap Amazon islands. And I was like, okay, well, let's just get this. And then I refitted the cabinetry to make it into a trash can drawer, like a full-size trash can drawer. It says 22 gallons or whatever, maybe more, I don't remember. And then after doing that, I was like, well, I'm going to return it. And now I've found another reason. A friend of mine has this like physical canvas that has like this painting on it, but they've never gotten it framed. And I was like, a gift for you. I shall frame it for you. I've done it before. I can do it again. And now I'm like, I just need to keep a nail gun. There's so many instances where I need a nail gun. I should just keep one. I should just keep it. Murder. Honestly, if you're broke, I get it. It's still messed up to buy things if you know you're going to use it one time and return it. Why is it fucked up? The way that I see it also is just like, these companies fuck over their workers. How much money are they stealing from like their consumers, from their workers, from the government? But I should be the good, reasonable customer. But I have to care about, the environment. And I have to care that I'm not wasting money for this company. It's like, what do you mean the government? Government subsidies? There's a lot of companies that get huge government subsidies because they've lobbied so hard. Pro tip, get a friend who works in construction and just borrow their equipment. You might be spitting. Wait, you might be spitting. Don't buy expensive tools from Home Depot because manufacturers have specific lines for those stores that use plastic interior parts that break easy. I'm a metal fabricator. I always recommend buying quality tools from smaller stores that actually carry the contractor lines from. Are you sure? Don't they just make this? Wouldn't it be cheaper for the corporation to mass produce the same product and just sell that to everyone? I just rent shit from Home Depot. I didn't even know that they had a reasonable renting. This is true for electronics. Well, I know this is true for electronics. The DeWalt and Lowe's and Home Depot are different? Wait, what? Are you guys serious? You guys are joking. You're telling me the same company produces the same product, the same model number, and they send a shittier version to Home Depot? Are you sure? Can I get like a source on this? I'm talking about it's like the same exact product. It's using the same type of battery. It's called the same thing. Can I get a source on this? Can I get like a YouTuber who like opens shit up or something? No, they're different models. Okay, well, if they're different models, that makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah, you would if you're creating this product for people who actually do contracting work, and then you're creating this product that's slightly different, but it's basically the same thing, but it has a different model number and it's called a different thing. Okay, well, of course yeah, I believe that. I'm saying the same exact model, same exact name, same exact SKU number or whatever. Different SKU number, same exact product, lesser quality. Home Depot will get a separate, similar line. 90% of people won't be able to tell the difference. If anyone has a video on this, please send it, okay? Please send it to me. I would love to know more about this. Because this, I assume, is correct, right? This, I don't even have to look this up to know that this is correct. 20-volt tools don't fit into 10-volt batteries and vice versa. Yeah, I understand this, right? Like a 20-volt tool being sold on the official website with the official SKU number or whatever. Yeah, sure. And then the 10-volt one being sold in Home Depot is worse. Okay, that makes sense. Duh. Yeah, of course. But like, avoid these tools. I need to know.
A couple months ago, I made a video about the best and the worst home centers to buy wooden lumber. I compared prices and selection and quality and convenience. And then I invited you to share your personal opinions in the comments.
LA County Library has 5 tool libraries. It's free and they have a wide range of tools. Is this true, chat? Really? Wow, I'm learning so much. Okay, let's keep going.
That video generated a lot of really interesting discussion. And I promised to make a follow-up that focused
Holy moly,
on tools.
I love this guy.
Well, this is that video. Today, I'll rank the 3 major home center chains in my area based upon some of the tools and other supplies that woodworkers like myself use the most. I'll tell you which I think is the best and which is...
Well, I'm not gonna lie. I do love YouTubers like this. This is like nature is healing. We are returning. The West has not fallen. It's nice to watch a YouTube video that doesn't have music and jump cuts and Mr. Beast font everywhere and is just like, it's Bob Rossen. I love these people so much. Just, you're a great person. StumpyNubs.com guy. I love you. Thank you. Thank you. And it's useful content. Usually these people are so knowledgeable on what they're talking about too. I just love these videos. I love this man so much. I don't even know anything about him.
Yo, yo, yo.
Hey guys, smash that like button, smash noise, and don't forget to subscribe. It's like, oh my god, I just want to watch the video. I just want to watch the video. Is that so bad?
Just the worst place to buy power tools,
also,
saw
Cheese
blades,
Wizard,
rubber
thank you for the
bits,
4 months.
glue, wood finishes, and general hardware.
Sorry, thank you for the 6
And
months.
I'll share some hidden gems that are worth driving a little further for.
Okay, I'm listening.
Once again, this is based on my personal experience, and it may vary from store to store. And I invite you to share your own experiences in the comments below so others can benefit from them as well.
I'm listening.
I'll be focusing on the 3 major home centers in my area: Home Depot, Lowe's, and Menards. None of these stores or brands sponsored this video. In fact, I made some
Real?
covert visits where I just took photos with my phone so I can kind of stay under the radar.
This is the one instance where it's acceptable to take creep shots. Okay? This is totally acceptable. This is valid, based. King, you are right to do this. Excellent. You want to know why? Because there's no people in the photos. Creep shots of merchandise is more than acceptable in my books. In fact, I think it's morally good.
Especially since some of what I'm about to share isn't all that complimentary to some of these stores. Now let's get started. Power tools are a big part of many garages and workshops, especially handheld power tools. I used to buy cheap stuff from places like Harbor Freight, but I soon learned that it's worth investing in a little better quality, especially if you plan to use them on a fairly regular basis. Now, since different home centers seem to be exclusive to certain brands, you might choose where to shop just based upon the brand you favor. This is especially true with cordless power tools, which sort of lock you into a battery system that keeps you loyal to that brand.
True.
I personally prefer Makita cordless tools because I like their 18-volt system because it's wide-ranging and I can get a high-quality brushless version.
To me, this isn't a creep shot. It's journalism. Wrong. It's creep shots. You like taking pictures of the beach? You're a fucking beach creeper. Okay? You like taking pictures of butterflies? You're a fucking butterfly creep. Okay? They're creep shots. Creep shots is you're taking a picture of something to keep the memory for longer. That's right. Yeah, that's right.
Of some of the tools that I use the most. Makita isn't exclusive to anywhere, but at least in my area, Home Depot is really the only of these big three stores that carry them. Now, while I use Makita in the workshop here, I use the less expensive but still decent Rigid brand in my garage at home. So, with Makita and Rigid being mostly at Home Depot, that's definitely the place that I go for cordless tools.
All photos are creep shots without the subject's consent. Power tools cannot consent.
In fact, I think Home Depot has the best lineup of solid brands of the three. Rigid and Milwaukee are exclusive to them. Makita is all but exclusive, at least in my area. They also carry the full line of DeWalt and some Bosch. And of course, they carry Ryobi. But as I said, I prefer the slightly higher quality of Rigid for my garage tools.
I feel like when I was looking at a couple tools that I wanted to get, I liked the Milwaukee ones the most. But this might be a femoid take because a lot of the other tools were like hurting my like hand to hold. Like the way that the weight was distributed was not comfortable for my hand. And I don't know if it's my double jointedness that makes me hold things weird and it makes my joints hurt. Or I'm just weak. And so the tool was like heavy. But I feel like when I was looking at power tools, the Milwaukee tools, they have a really good balance on them. They're a lot more comfortable to hold, I feel like. Their ergonomics look really nice. Or like they felt really nice versus the ergonomics of like the Ryobi tools. They were not comfortable. And the DeWalt tools, oh my God, they were not comfortable. As the most diverse offering of battery powered tools, that makes me lose my engineering mind. Okay, that's fair.
I personally think that
why are we learning about power tools? Because I want to learn more about power tools.
Lowe's lags behind Home Depot when it comes to power tools. They do have a lot of DeWalt, and they have a little bit of Bosch. But other than that, it's pretty much Cobalt and Flex with them. And while some of those may be solid tools,
low-key, Cobalt had the worst ergonomics.
Just not willing to get locked into their
It's Pride Month. We have to learn about power tools. For the first day of Pride Month, we're learning about power tools, guys, okay?
Systems. They do also carry Craftsman and Black & Decker power tools.
To be fair, I do feel like men talk about their power tools the way that, like, other people might describe their gender or sexual expression. It's like, oh, what are your pronouns? Oh, I'm they, them. Yeah, I'm attracted to this now. It's like, oh, what are your tools? Yeah, I like the red ones. Yeah, I got one of these. Like, I feel like it really is just like assigned gender at birth. No, 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 no. Assigned tool set at birth.
But you may as well go to Harbor Freight if you want that kind of quality. So that brings us to Menards. They have some Bosch, and they do have what few Porter cable tools are still on the market. But that's about it for major brands. They really push their Masterforce store brand. I've bought a few of those over the
Are they, makes power tool noises?
years, and I haven't been overly impressed. Don't get me wrong. For light use, they can be a decent value. I'd compare them to Ryobi. But if I'm going to use a power tool for more than a few years, I try to stay away from the discount brands. And that includes their Rockwell, their Tool Shop, their Skill, and their Black & Decker tools. So when it comes to power tools at least, I'll choose Home Depot first and Menards last. Incidentally, I'm going to be making a short video about the tangled web of shenanigans and cross-branding that these tool companies and box stores employ, like how certain brands like Milwaukee and Rigid are actually the same company, and why some brands are only available at certain stores. So check out our channel in the coming days for that video. I also regularly head to home centers for power tool accessories such as bits and blades. And once again, I'm likely to drive past one store to get to the one that stocks the products I prefer. At the risk of sounding like a Home Depot fanboy here, I have to say that they are my first choice in this category too. And it mostly comes down to one brand, Diablo. While there are better saw blades out there, I'm a big fan of Ridge
Like the video game? That game is my favorite.
Carbide myself in the premium blade category.
Sorry.
Diablo are excellent values for the price. And I do recommend them to anyone in my audience who's on a budget, but they still want something halfway decent. The same can be said for the Diablo wavy rimmed Forstner bits. You should really try those out if you're looking for a little bit more of a budget bit that's still good quality. They may be one of the best bits that you can buy in a home center. What I'm not a fan of is Home Depot's Avanti Pro line. I really think it's worth spending the little bit extra money to go with the Diablo. Lowe's doesn't have Diablo, but they do have Bosch, which owns Diablo. See what I mean about the incestuous relationship between brands?
That is crazy to describe it that way, to describe it as an incestual relationship between brands. That's crazy. Dude, Power Tool, YouTube, go crazy. Okay, someone sent a link talking about the tools or something, and it says, is there a difference between units sold at mass merchants and authorized sales and servicing dealers? Products are not necessarily the same between mass merchants or even different equipment sales or servicing dealers. In handheld equipment, as long as the model is the same, the base product is the same. However, different retailers may offer different SKU packages. And then it talks about how some might offer accessories, but then it says this one, in wheeled goods, even between various sales and service dealers or mass merchants, equipments can have variants on the same model. For example, we may have a blank model that at one dealer has a tough torque transmission, while at another it has a hydro gear, and yet another may offer a Peerless brand transmission. One is not necessarily better than the other, but more a supply requirement. Okay. This I didn't know. I didn't know that. It's good to know. A Peerless what? A Peerless what now? What? All right. Wow. I feel so learned. I feel very learned. Components sometimes get swapped due to supply chain issues. That makes sense. Also, like, realistically, I'm not someone who's using tools on like a daily basis. I don't have to worry about my tools breaking because of overuse. Like, I'm just not going to be using tools ever that much. Like, I don't do it for work, right? Like, maybe once a month, maybe I might use it. So I probably don't even need like the crazy good tools either. This is probably more useful for people who actually use it on a semi-daily basis. So I would assume that the ones that they sell at the Home Depot are worse because it's for more casual users who aren't going to be using their tools every single day. So that makes sense. I guess that makes sense. Bad take, Home Depot slander. Wow. I think it's also the same how some retailers get away with if you find it cheaper elsewhere, we'll match the price clauses because my only sources are formed from 12 years ago. The stream I needed pap smears and tool talk. Let's fucking go. You're gonna eat these words? What words? What did I say? I didn't think I said anything that was controversial, but okay. Omega. Plastics just deteriorate with time in a way that metal doesn't. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. I'm gonna get canceled by the power tool community. Oh God. They're gonna write a 30-minute video on why I'm wrong in a very peaceful voice. All right. Okay, let's get back to this consumerism video, okay?
Raw materials and transportation logistics than consumer demand. In the housing market, for example, most people want affordable, comfortable living spaces. Yet the buildings developers construct are often luxury condos or turnkey mansions, dwellings that are unaffordable for the majority but rake in extensive profit for real estate companies. So capitalists produce goods based on factors outside of the realm of consumerism. That being said, they still need people to buy their stuff. To complete that cycle of money, commodity, more money, capitalists must sell their products on the market to the masses, regardless of whether their products have actual use or not. So instead of focusing on producing things that are actually useful and necessary, capitalism has built a massive apparatus that manufactures false needs and desires. Here lies the true trap of consumerism. To assure the continued success of their businesses, capitalists manufacture desires and needs. We believe that it is wholly inherent wants, needs, and desires that are driving our consumption, that it is human nature, when in fact corporate forces are constantly whispering in our ear, consume, consume, consume. In 1919,
I also feel like being spy driven is based. You know when you try really hard to not give a website your cookies and it makes you press like 7 different buttons, but you're like, fuck you, you don't get my information? That's how I feel. That's exactly how I feel about consumerism. It's like, fuck you. You will not convince me to buy this useless garbage I don't fucking need. I don't need that.
Henry Ford and his fellow capitalists were scared. A rising insurgence of anarchist and socialist movements seized the hearts and minds of Americans across the country. Labor strikes, walkouts, and protests seeking a better workplace threatened to disrupt the profit-making machines of Ford's car-making factories. Then Ford had an idea, a double-edged sword wielded against the worker to maintain the status quo. Ford and his fellow industry leaders, as one paper describes, decided to reduce the chances of a worker rebellion by giving workers increased wages, bank credit, and more leisure time, all for the purpose of encouraging increased rates of consumption. As we've already seen, producers required the endless consumption of their commodities to stay competitive and profitable within a capitalist market system. Capitalists must keep consumers on an endless treadmill of consumption to reap maximum profit and continue accumulating capital. This leads to the real trap of consumerism, the manufacturing of what Marxist scholar
Dude, what is up with videos autoplaying without my consent? What was that? That was me looking at this tweet because I wanted to show it to you guys afterward. And it was everyone getting really excited about raising $1.5 million. But I did not consent to the video playing. I did not consent to that, okay? Dude, what the fuck? Roses, thank you so much for the 11 months. Thanks. Also, sorry, but like, what is this? You're looking at tweets while watching a video? Well, I have other stuff I want to show you guys, so I have to get it ready. What the fuck is this? Raises $1.5 million for a good cause. Me when I'm normal. The IDF has the chance to do the funniest thing possible. What's wrong with him? I thought you know what's so weird? I thought wishing harm on people was like really bad, guys. I thought that's what everyone said. It's crazy. Just straight up hate speech. Just straight up sees a photo of 3 Arabs and an honorary Arab and is just like, hey, what if I just said I wish they were dead? Wouldn't that be crazy? Wouldn't that be crazy? That would be so crazy. Anyway, sorry, get back to video.
Herbert Marcuse deemed false needs. To offload all of the useless gadgets, new iterations of the same tech, and just general junk onto the masses, capitalists have to make us believe that we actually need the latest iPhone or the slap chop or that latest TikTok trend, rather than just want it. This is where the vast apparatus of advertising comes into play. With ads like this.
Sadly, he isn't me. But if he stopped using lady-scented body wash and switched to Old Spice, he could smell like he's me.
And this.
Making new traditions. Sharing old stories. That's my recipe for magic.
Companies assign emotional value and meaning to objects whose actual value stems from the labor and raw material costs needed to make that product. This process not only obscures exploitative practices employed during production, but also allows companies to set higher prices because the commodity is now imbued with certain politics and values. Tesla has been extremely effective at this task. Its brand imbues its cars with ideals of luxury, clean, and sustainable futurism. These values in turn
high-key marketing was a mistake.
Mask the exploitative practices throughout Tesla's supply chain. Fellow YouTuber Ugopnik cheekily describes this process of value formation through the example of a chocolate bar.
Advertisers consciously understand.
Hear me out, men who use lady-scented body wash actually smell so good, though. True. Fucking true, dude. Fucking true. Totally based.
That purchasing patterns directly correlate to personal values. Therefore, the chocolate bar becomes a locally grown, eco-friendly, soy-infused chocolate bar with a hipster biodegradable wrapper, and from whose every purchase 2 cents go to starving Sri Lankan children. Now, what's the actual difference between this world-saving chocolate bar and just a chocolate bar? Almost none. Made in the same factory with the same ingredients and for the same profit motive.
In short, the advertising industry works tirelessly to wrap products in values like happiness, power, connection, or sustainability because they know it's much easier to sell a product to someone based on appeals to their principles rather than just describing the utility of the commodity. This value generation apparatus, otherwise known as the advertising industry, has become an essential lever in the capitalist machine. Advertising revenue has nearly doubled since 2012, with spending on digital display advertising in just the US alone reaching $63.5 billion in 2022. But in the age of social media, it's not just advertisements directly from companies that are pushing us to buy to boost our happiness or save the planet. Your favorite streamer or Instagram star is constantly influencing you to buy stuff, regardless of whether they're paid to or not. Even I support myself through ad revenue, which I'll get to later on in the video. This has disastrous consequences for our mental health as we constantly strive to fulfill those false needs generated for us, especially as corporations wield algorithms and data collection to hone in on what product will best seduce you into buying. In essence, every day, a social media advertisement is placed in front of you with a product that you never even thought about buying. But because of data tracking and algorithmic decisions, that product now wiggles its way into your head like an ear.
Do you do this, Denim? I only do this, guys, I only do this with products that actually work and that you're actually supposed to use every day. Like, I don't even shill specific brands either. Like, I say, like, you should get sunscreen to prevent your chance of getting skin cancer. Like, regardless of your skin tone, you should get sunscreen, and you should use sunscreen anytime you're about to go outside. Because even if you don't burn, I don't burn in the sun, but I've started wearing it because I'm like, maybe I should take skin cancer pretty seriously, actually. I'm going to feel really stupid if I get skin cancer and I never want sunscreen. So I do that. And I show you guys the products I buy, but I don't make any money off of it. So I feel like that's okay. And if you actually use it, it's good. My problem is consumerism that leads you to buy products that you're never going to use. Like buying an egg holder to hold your eggs in your fridge. It's like eggs already come in a package that holds them. For you don't need that item. But like, if you go outside, if you have tattoos, if you burn, if you don't burn, you should use sunscreen. And if you go outside even semi-frequently, you definitely should use sunscreen. So I promote products that are good for you, that you actually will use on a daily basis, right? But I don't think that that's consumerism. I think if you buy items that you use, that's not consumerism. Consumerism is buying shit you don't need.
Earworm, and you can't stop thinking about how your life would be better with those slippers or that new watch. As a result, the good life becomes synonymous with consuming things. Happiness is equated with having products. Even streaming services keep you hooked and numb with features like the autoplay button. It allows you to constantly consume content and search for that next dopamine hit, giving you a short-term high. But in the process, we stay up way too late, which leaves us tired and burnt out. In fact, in 2017, Netflix's CEO very bluntly claimed that their biggest competitor was sleep. All of this advertising leads us to believe that the current system we live in actually benefits us. That keeping up with the Joneses, going deep into debt to buy a new car, or going on a shopping spree is the answer.
It's actually the saddest thing on the planet that there are Americans that are in debt because they bought an ugly ass dog shit truck. That was like at a 25% APR. That was like $70,000. It's like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, genuinely, I cannot believe you went into debt for this dog shit gas guzzling car that doesn't fit anywhere because it's enormous. And you're never going to haul anything with it because you work at an office. Why? Poor Kay. So confused. I'm so confused. I need to ride in a car that makes me feel like I'm in a monster jam. Oh, that's fair. Okay. People don't do that. Clueless. I want to live your life. Xenol, I want to live your life, not knowing that those people exist, that those people are real. I wish I could unmeet the people I have met in my life that have went into debt, that they don't make enough money to pay for this $80,000 ugly ass truck that they don't need. I wish I could unmeet those people and I could live a better life. Okay? Why would anyone buy a truck if they don't own a business that requires it?
I live in Florida. You're describing most people here.
It's bad in Florida. It's actually so bad in Florida. It's like, you don't need that car. You don't need that fucking car. Oh my God. You could fit everything in a normal car. Everything that you need for work fits in a normal sized car. And to be clear, I'm not shitting on like those cute Ford trucks, or obviously not like the cute, is it Tay, the Japanese trucks? Okay. I'm shitting on the giant car, the giant 4-door trucks. It's just so ugly and so useless. Why? Why? K trucks. Like, I'm talking about these guys. These ones, Texas is 99% parking lot princesses. I know, it's so sad. Like, these guys are based. I see a truck like this on the road, and I'm like, that person's a based hard worker. They're cool. I love them. They're great. I love truck owners like this. You're a good truck owner. I actually know a truck owner who has a truck just like this. And they bought it like used at like a crazy good rate. They bought it for like less than 10 grand. It's not like a nice fancy model. It like the AC works. There's space in the trunk. I mean, not trunk, but there's a truck bed, excuse me. And it goes. And I'm like, honestly, you're fucking based. Wait. You're kind of actually like, wait, actually you're based. And I was in their truck. It fit 3 people, despite it only being like this little space. So great truck all around. I love a cute truck. These... "99% chance the worst person you know drives this car." So ugly. Oh my God. Have you guys ever seen when they make like the back of the car like fat? Like when they make her ass fat? And they take up all the space on the fucking planet. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? Or am I losing everyone? They kind of look like this. This is not what I'm thinking of, but they kind of look like this. Where like the back of the truck, it's got like 2 more wheels on it for absolutely no fucking reason. They gave her a fat ass. That's what I said. Why? Like, why? Literally, why? What do you need that for? Where could you be going? The BBL truck. The extra wheels are supposed to allow the truck to tow heavier weights like an RV.
My mom calls those trucks hippie truck Susie.
It's literally just like that one Doja Cat lyric. If you can see it from the front, wait till you see it from the back. Anyways, yeah. I hate these people. Specifically, the people who drive these ones. You're just sick. You're sick. And you're engaging in consumerism. Aren't you embarrassed? Ugh. Anyways, was that an AI plankton? Yes. Third hand, thank you so much for the Prime sub.
To our loneliness, alienation, and disconnection from the people and places around us. As Diana Stewart and her co-authors write, the ruling class, benefiting from the labor of others, perpetuates ideas that mystify, elude, and deceive workers into falsely believing that they benefit from the current system, can move up in the system, and have freedom in the system, as well as that no other system is possible. This is especially insidious in the realm of politics. Many of us have become so distant from the cogs of capitalist production and so entrenched in this advertising ideology that often political activism has been boiled down to voting with your dollars. This narrative is exactly what the fossil fuel industry has been hard at work creating for over 40 years through its popularization of carbon footprints, recycling, and individualization of action. When we as worker consumers are placated into believing that the most effective means of change is to transfer our money from one capitalist to another, the owners of production have won. They've distracted us from what's actually a threat to them: collective organizing, labor agitation, union power, walkouts, and strikes. Activities that directly disrupt the cycle of capital accumulation. As scholar Douglas Kellner writes, Capitalists wield image and spectacle to manipulate people into social conformity and into behaving in ways functional for the reproduction of capitalism. In essence, consuming not only perpetuates the endless cycle of production and capital accumulation, but it also pacifies the masses by narrowing the possibilities of a good life to the purchasing, having, and watching of more stuff. So if we know the root causes of consumerism, how then do we escape it? We already have the means and capacity to
Phenomenon is called commodity fetishism, by the way, Denims.
fulfill everyone's basic needs worldwide. Let that sink in. We already produce enough food to feed everyone globally, but we're wasting nearly a third of it. We already have the technology to create renewable energy for everyone on the planet, but we're nowhere near that level. We can build a world where everyone lives a good, meaningful, and environmentally ethical life. But that world will mean an end to shopping at Temu or Shein. It means no Amazon one-click purchases. It means an end to incessant advertising. And here is where I struggle. I am complicit in that manufacturing of consumer desire. My channel is run on the manufacturing of false needs. My livelihood is based on getting you to become a Nebula member or signing up for
Dude, I fucking work on Twitch, which is owned by Amazon. It's so Jover for me.
news. Does it make it better if I actually like those services and use them? Or that Nebula is ad-free and based on membership revenue? I tell myself yes, because I live under this massive apparatus that is capitalism, but that doesn't feel good to me. Perhaps I could end YouTube ads if there was more Patreon support, but at this
lobbying GoFundMes to pass bills that actually serve the people when the government refuses to make lobbying illegal?
I think the problem is that you would need a lot more money. You would need so much money because these companies have millions, sometimes billions of dollars that they can spend on that.
This moment, it's not financially feasible. At the end of the day, I have no good answer to how to live under capitalism while also struggling against it. In a sense, this is capitalism at work. It insidiously corrupts the very messages of those working to dismantle it, blaming those who must live within it for living within it. But even if I did cancel all ads, my action would only be like spooning a small drop of water out of a vast ocean. This is why we need more than just individual vote with your money approaches. Ideally, a mass revolution would upend our current capitalist system, and the adoption of full worker control of all companies and production would take root. Democratic planning through worker, consumer, and community councils would mean an emphasis on producing for actual planetary and personal needs rather than manufacturing false needs for profit. Of course, this kind of worker-led socialist economy could be a ways off in the future. We will need to build mass power globally if we are to see it come to fruition. This is why we need to employ non-reformist reforms like restricting and regulating advertising on the road to building that power. To beat back the manufacturing of false needs, we need to restrict the reach of corporations in our everyday lives. This could start as simply reinstating child advertising laws that were stripped away under the Reagan administration, or tamping down on social media and influencer marketing. We cannot sit by and simply hope that encouraging everyone to buy ethical, green, or just less stuff will somehow work to solve the multiple crises in front of us, especially as mass marketing and overproduction peck at individual consumers to buy. To truly escape the trap of consumerism, we must approach the problem from the root. We must erode power through regulation and non-reformist reforms, and then eventually dismantle and reimagine the factories and offices of production that manufacture our desires. And on their rubble, build a world based on useful goods. A world where the stuff we make facilitates rather than alienates our connection to people and the planet. In an effort to depend less and less on YouTube ads and in-video sponsorships, I need your help. Recently, my revenue has been slipping because of a combination of demonetization and fewer sponsorship conversions. My wonderful Patreon supporters, however, have been keeping this channel and myself afloat. My Patreon supporters have given me financial consistency over the last 7 years so I can pay my rent and my ever-increasing healthcare premiums. So I'm turning to you, the wonderful people who watch my videos month in, month out. If you have the means, please consider supporting the channel on Patreon using the link in the description. Just pledging $1 a month is huge for the channel, and when you become a Patreon supporter, you'll get early access to all my videos ad-free, bonus content like a guided meditation from yours truly to calm your climate anxiety, or even the occasional full-length interview with authors or scholars. But if you aren't able to become a channel patron, please don't worry. Just by watching this video to the end, you've done your part. So thank you, and thank you so much to those who already support me on Patreon. You're the reason I'm able to make videos like this.
I do have to say, this channel is very good for, like, I want to say normie to radicalized lefty propaganda channel. In a good way, propaganda in a good way. Like, very good for explaining to, I think, a much more normie audience, hey, this is what's wrong with your system. Hey.
DNM shy.
Audio atmosphere, thank you for the 6 months. Thank you. It's very general. Yeah, it is definitely very general.